The camera's tiny red light blinked on the kitchen shelf. The stew pot bubbled softly. Jonathan stood in the doorway, his heart hitting hard like a drum. He could not hear the sound, because he was deaf, but a voice still filled his head cold and sharp. Tonight. Add it now. When he eats, it ends. Jonathan looked at Ms. Jessica's hand. A small silver packet slid from her palm. The packet opened. White powder fell into the stew like quiet snow. He heard another thought from her mind. No one will fight me for the houses or the cars. Not that deaf boy. Jonathan's fingers shook. He signed to himself, fast. Not my father. Not tonight. He reached for his phone to send a text to his dad in the sitting room. Before the message went out, the scene froze in his mind like a picture. His father, Mr. Felix, with a spoon halfway to his mouth. Earlier that week, Onitsha was hot and busy that day. Keke horns flashed like yellow dragonflies on the road. Women called in the market. Smoke from suya grills curled into the sky. Mr. Felix came home smiling, holding the hand of a woman in a bright wrapper. He signed to Jonathan, clear and slow. This is Ms. Jessica. I want to marry her. Jonathan smiled because he loved his father. Mr. Felix was kind and strong. He had taken care of Jonathan since Mama died when Jonathan was 7. But a small stone of worry sat in Jonathan's chest. He did not know why. Days passed. Jessica moved into the house. She cooked. She laughed with neighbors. She patted Jonathan's shoulder and mouthed, "Good boy," even though she hardly looked into his eyes. Sometimes, when she walked past, a whisper floated into Jonathan's head like smoke through a window. Big house. Many cars. He will trust me. Jonathan did not like those whispers. He tried to push them away. One afternoon, Jessica's friend came to visit. They sat in the sitting room, close to the big fan. The friend waved at Jonathan, then turned and said words with her mouth that he could not hear, but the voice inside her head fell into Jonathan like a stone into water. "Leave that stupid boy. He is deaf. It's why you married his foolish father. When he dies, nobody will drag the property." The room went cold. Jonathan's chest felt tight. Another picture flashed in his mind, a vision. He saw a packet. He saw white powder. He saw his father's plate. He ran to his room and cried without sound. Then he wiped his face. He opened his laptop. He set up a tiny camera in the kitchen, hidden near the plant. He tested it. The red light blinked. That night, the generator hummed outside. The house smelled like fresh stew and warm rice. Jessica stirred the pot and looked over her shoulder. No one was there. She took the silver packet from her wrapper. Jonathan stood in the doorway, half in shadow. His fingers moved fast, sending a message to his father. "Don't eat yet. Wait for me." In the sitting room, Mr. Felix looked down at his phone and frowned. He picked up the plate. He lifted the spoon. Back in the kitchen, the packet emptied. The stew shone. Jessica smiled. Jonathan ran. The spoon touched the rim of his father's mouth, and the door burst open. Jonathan burst into the sitting room like wind through a door. He slid beside his father and caught Mr. Felix's wrist before the spoon reached his mouth. His eyes were wide. His hands spoke fast. "Don't eat. Please. Wait." Mr. Felix stopped at once. He always trusted his son. From the day Mama died, he learned Jonathan's face and fingers the way other men learned maps. He lowered the spoon and signed, slow and calm. "Why?" Jonathan pulled out his phone. On the screen, a short message flashed. "Poison in stew. Come and see." He touched his chest, then pointed to the kitchen. Jessica stood in the doorway with a warm smile. "Is everything okay?" Her voice was sweet, but a thin line showed in her forehead. Jonathan walked past her, shoulders stiff. He went straight to the plant on the kitchen shelf and picked up the tiny camera. The red light blinked. He plugged it into his laptop on the table. His fingers shook as he opened the video. "Darling, what is this drama?" Jessica asked, laughing softly. "The food is getting cold." Mr. Felix raised his hand. Silence. Even though Jonathan could not hear, he felt the whole house become still. He clicked play. On the screen, the kitchen appeared, same shelf, same pot, same night. Then they saw Jessica's hand slide into her wrapper and pull out a small silver packet. They saw white powder rain into the stew like snow. They saw her look over her shoulder and smile. For 3 long heartbeats, no one moved. Jessica blinked fast. That is salt, she said. Yes, special salt. I bought it in the market. Jonathan's hand spoke again, sharp and clear. That is not salt. I heard your plan. Tears filled Mr. Felix's eyes, not from fear, but from something heavy and sad. He sat down slowly. He signed to Jonathan. Gentle. I knew you were special. I kept your gift quiet so you could be a boy. I am sorry you carry this weight. Jonathan blinked away tears and shook his head. I want you safe. Jessica took a step back. This is wickedness. You both hate me because I am from the market. You think I am not good enough. Mr. Felix stood. His voice was steady. We will not fight here. He walked to the front door and opened it wide. Neighbors, he called into the night air, please, come. Feet hurried on the cement. Women wrapped in ankara, men in singlets, a few youths with phone lights. Soon the sitting room and corridor were full. The video played again. Gasps, whispers, someone crossed themselves. Old Mama Nkechi pushed to the front and looked Jessica in the eye. If it is only salt, she said. Eat from the pot. Just a spoon. Now. A murmur grew, soft at first, then stronger. Yes. Eat. Just a spoon. Eat. Jessica's lip trembled. I am not hungry, she said. Sweat shone on her forehead. Eat. Mama Nkechi repeated. Her voice was iron. Jessica reached for a clean spoon with a shaking hand. She took a little stew and lifted it. The whole room leaned forward. Jonathan stared so hard his eyes hurt. Mr. Felix's hands were clenched at his sides. The spoon, warm and red, rose slowly toward Jessica's mouth and stopped 1 inch from her lips. Jessica's hand shook so hard the stew nearly spilled. The spoon hung in the air, trembling between her lips and the crowd's eyes. The neighbors leaned closer. A baby cried in the distance, but the room itself was dead silent. Eat it! Mama Nkechi's voice cut like a blade. Eat! The youths echoed, holding up their phones, recording. Jessica's eyes darted from face to face. She could feel the walls closing in. Sweat rolled down her neck. At last, the spoon dropped back into the bowl with a sharp clink. I can't, she cried. Her voice cracked like glass. She fell to her knees, covering her face. I can't eat it. It's true. I poisoned it. Gasps filled the room. Jonathan's heart slammed in his chest, but at the same time he felt a strange calm. The words he had heard in her mind days ago were now spoken aloud for all to hear. Jessica sobbed. I didn't want to. But the money, the houses. I wanted everything. My friend told me no one would question me because Felix trusted me. I thought the boy, her eyes flicked toward Jonathan, was useless because he is deaf. The neighbors hissed and shouted, Wicked woman! Shame on you! How can you kill the man that gave you shelter? From the back of the crowd, an old woman pushed through. Her wrapper was tied tight and her walking stick tapped the floor. When she reached Jessica, she lifted her hand. Slap! The sound cracked across the sitting room. It was Jessica's own mother. Tears filled the old woman's eyes. Foolish daughter, I raised you better. How can you disgrace me, disgrace this family, disgrace your own soul? She slapped her again, softer this time, then turned her face away in shame. The police siren wailed outside. 2 officers entered, firm and unsmiling. We received a call, one said. Who is Jessica Namani? All fingers pointed at her. She tried to speak, but her voice broke into sobs. The officers pulled her up. The neighbors parted, muttering, some shaking their heads, others filming. As she was led away, Jessica twisted back to glare at Jonathan. Her lips moved without sound, but Jonathan heard it clearly in his head. This is not the end. I will make you pay. Jonathan's body stiffened. His father's hand rested on his shoulder, steadying him. Don't fear, Mr. Felix whispered. The police pushed Jessica into the van, and the street slowly emptied. Only Jonathan, his father, and a few close neighbors remained. Everyone's eyes rested on the boy. Mama Nkechi spoke again, softer now. How did you know, child? How did you see what none of us could see? Jonathan froze. His secret was no longer safe. He looked at his father. Mr. Felix nodded. So Jonathan told them. His fingers moved slowly, and his father spoke the words aloud for the people. He hears things, not with his ears, but with his spirit. He hears thoughts. He sees what people hide. He knew Jessica's plan before she did it. He saved my life. The neighbors gasped. Some looked afraid. Others looked amazed. A man whispered, "Is he a prophet?" Another said, "God has touched him." Before Jonathan could breathe, someone shouted from the crowd, "Then let him prove it. My daughter is sick. Can he tell us why?" The voices grew louder, pressing in, curious and desperate. Everyone wanted a piece of him now. Jonathan's chest tightened. He had saved his father. Yes, but was he ready to carry the whole community's secrets? The crowd stepped closer, waiting for his answer. The crowd's voices swirled around Jonathan. There was respect in their eyes. Women pressed their hands to their chests. Men shook their heads in awe. Nobody shouted at him now. Nobody mocked him for being deaf. Mama Nkechi stepped forward first, her eyes soft. "My son," she said gently, "you saved your father. You saved us all. We respect you." She bent slightly, old bones creaking, and touched his shoulder. Jonathan's eyes watered. He had never seen so many people look at him like this, not with pity, but with honor. A man from the back raised his hand. "It is true. The boy has a gift. My wife has been sick for months. Doctors don't know why. Can you help us?" Jonathan hesitated. He looked at his father. Mr. Felix signed slowly, "Only if you want to, my son. You are not forced." Jonathan nodded. He walked closer to the man, shut his eyes, and breathed deep. Like whispers on the wind, voices slid into his mind. He saw the woman lying on a bed, weak. He saw dirty water from a broken well. He saw how every time she drank, her body became worse. Jonathan opened his eyes and signed, "Stop giving her water from the old well. It is poisoned with dirt. Fetch fresh water from the stream until it is cleaned." The man's jaw dropped. That is true. We fetch from that well every day." He fell on his knees, tears rolling down. "God has blessed you, my son. God has blessed you." Whispers ran through the crowd. Respect deepened. They didn't push him. They didn't crowd him. They stood back, like people before a holy place. From then on, whenever someone came with a problem, Jonathan would listen. Sometimes he warned them of thieves planning to strike. Sometimes he told them where to find a lost goat. Other times, he revealed hidden sicknesses before they became worse. Each time, his father stood proudly by his side. News spread beyond their street. People came from other parts of Onitsha just to see the boy who could hear. Some called him the deaf prophet. Others simply said, "Jonathan, the boy who saves." But Jonathan was still just a boy. At night, he curled on his bed, clutching his pillow, and wished his mother was alive to see him. His gift was heavy, but now he no longer carried it alone. His father's love and the people's respect gave him strength. Months passed. Peace returned to the house. Jessica's name was spoken only in whispers. One Sunday morning, Mr. Felix gathered the neighbors. A tall woman with kind eyes stood beside him. "This is Grace," he said, smiling. "She is my friend. She has a gentle heart. She loves my son as her own." Jonathan looked at her carefully. He closed his eyes. He listened, and what he heard was simple and pure. "I want to be a good mother to this boy. I want to protect him as if he were mine." For the first time in many months, Jonathan's face broke into a wide smile. He stepped forward and hugged her waist. The crowd cheered. And so, their family grew again. Grace married Felix, and soon they had 2 more children. But Jonathan was never pushed aside. Grace cared for him like her own blood. She made sure his food was first, his clothes were neat, his nights were peaceful. The boy who once lived in silence now lived in love and honor. Months had passed. Jonathan was happy again. Grace's laughter filled the house, and Mr. Felix looked younger than before. The children played in the yard, and neighbors often stopped by to greet the blessed family. But one humid evening, just as the sun dipped and the crickets began their song, a shadow fell at the gate. Jessica had returned. Her hair was messy, her wrapper torn. Shame had followed her, but so had anger. She pushed the gate open and shouted, "Felix, you ruined me, you and that deaf boy." The neighbors quickly gathered. Some shouted at her to leave, others whispered in fear. Jonathan stood beside his father, his hands trembling. Then, without warning, he felt it again, a sharp voice in his head. "Tonight I will burn this house. If I can't have you, no one will," Jonathan gasped. He signed quickly to his father. "She plans fire." Tonight, she brought petrol. Mr. Felix didn't waste time. He called out to the neighbors, "Search her bag." They grabbed it from Jessica. Inside was a small black bottle, half filled with petrol. Gasps filled the night air. Jessica froze, her anger cracked into tears. She fell to her knees, wailing. "I only wanted wealth. I only wanted respect. I was blind." The police were called again, but before they took her away, Jonathan's small hands tugged at Grace's wrapper. He signed slowly, carefully. "She is bad, yes, but she is broken too. She needs help, not hate." Grace's eyes softened. She knelt and whispered to Jessica, "May God heal you. You tried to kill, but this boy you despised, he shows you mercy." The crowd was silent. Some wiped their eyes. Even the police officers paused, nodding at Jonathan's wisdom. Jessica was taken away, but her last look was not hatred. It was shame, mixed with a strange kind of relief. Perhaps, deep inside, she had been touched. From that night on, Jonathan's name spread not just as a boy who could hear, but as one who forgave. The people respected him deeply. Whenever someone was in danger or sick, they ran first to his home. He helped with kindness, never pride. Mr. Felix often looked at his son and signed, "Your gift is not a curse, it is light. You saved me, and now you bless many." And Grace, true to her heart, became the mother Jonathan thought he had lost forever. She loved him, cared for him, and taught the younger children to honor him too. Jonathan was no longer the deaf boy. He was the boy who heard what others could not, the boy who saved his father, the boy who turned pain into purpose. And though his gift had taken his silence, it gave him something far greater, a voice that spoke louder than sound. The voice of truth. Please, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos.